freedoms which have been slowly taken away from us. You may have never heard of this peaceful revolution. That is because the mainstream media does not want to televise it. So therefore, we have to be our own media and let our voices be heard. Welcome to the Liberty LiveStream Team Show with your hosts, Suriyah and Qadoshyah Fish.
Hey everyone! Welcome back! It's been a few weeks since we've been on. We had a lot going on in Tampa, and last week we were tired and didn't want to do anything, so we switched our show to Tuesdays now at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead of Mondays. So change that on your calendars to watch. And so we'll go over a few things about what happened in Tampa and what's gone on the last few weeks. First, we're going to play a short video, just kind of a music video that kind of sums up our trip and makes it look a little bit more vacation-like than it really was. But anyways, it makes it a fun little video, so we'll play that first, and then we'll kind of get into some of the details. Qadoshyah was in Tampa for that just kind of gives a quick rundown and summation of our trip. I just lost the screen. I'll go over a little bit of what went on. I was there for 2 weeks. I had to go down a whole week prior to the convention to be on the committee on contests. I was one of the contestants on Oklahoma's challenge, and so we had to go in front of the committee on contests on Monday the 20th, which was a whole week before the convention was supposed to start. And then I also had to be at the credentials appeal we had on Friday the 24th. So it was a very long week there, the week before. I had a small break. Those of us who went down for the committee on contests, we had a small break for about 2 days. We went down to the Atlantic side of Florida and spent a couple days there, but then it was quickly back to work and many late nights. You know, we were up till 5 o'clock in the morning formulating our appeal to the credentials committee that would be heard that Friday and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, all of that was shot down, but it was a great learning experience, and I'm glad we were able to go through it all, even though I spent many hours crying about it. And then on Friday, we actually were able to meet some of the delegates from Maine because they had their appeal that same day, and so that was the highlight. And we were also able to meet Jay from Nevada, who was the only one who stood up for Oklahoma's contest. Then we had the PaulFest Friday and Saturday, and Suriyah and some of them live streamed the PaulFest those 2 days. I didn't do much other than run around and get stopped and said hi to by people who recognized us or work with the delegates. There was a lot that was going on with the delegates and our coordination and all that, and so I was really glad I was able to be down there and be involved in all of that. You know, we all had each other's back. Everyone was trying to get Maine seated, and likewise, people wanted to do all they could to get Oklahoma seated. Even, you know, we were talking about credentials amendments and all that kind of stuff. Looking back, it seems funny that we would even expect that from this kind of convention, but I mean, it was a convention, so we thought a convention would happen, not a coronation, you know. And so it was a rough time with all that coordinating stuff. Lots and lots of late nights, but it was really good. And then there was the SunDome rally on Sunday, which was really cool. But again, it was a kind of a rough time because they didn't want it. The SunDome rally wouldn't recognize Oklahoma's parking lot delegates, and so I couldn't go up in the VIP delegate lounge. Well, they told me I couldn't go up there, and finally it got to the point where I just said, I'm sorry, I'm a delegate, I'm doing work with delegates, and I'm going up here. And so the people just stepped back out of the way and let me go up, and, you know, all the delegates there were like, why would they do that to you guys? You know, here's my number, I don't agree with them doing that, you know, and call me if there's any problems, you know, or people would have me go in and get in the middle of the circle, say, come get in this middle circle so that, you know, they don't kick you out of being up here in this lounge. You know, I'd turn my bracelet inside out. It was kind of weird to be doing that at a Ron Paul rally where, you know, I thought we were all like on the same page. But that's all right. It is what it is, and you know, it was a great time anyways. I'll let Suriyah kind of fill in for a few of those days where she live streamed. I got to Florida on Thursday, and we live streamed all day Friday at Fall Festival and all day Saturday. And then Sunday we got up and went and live streamed at the SunDome rally. Which is Saturday I actually helped Qadoshyah a lot with the delegate work at the PaulFest. That was her little GoPro, I suppose you could say. And then at the SunDome we live streamed all day. And then Monday, pick back up. Well, Monday, we went to the convention because, you know, they were just going to gavel it to order and then recess until Tuesday. So we went, and that was the only day those of us who were guests were able to be on the floor. So we kind of, you know, went and made us think about everything there and had Ron Paul signs everywhere, chanting Ron Paul. It was really cool. And then we did a lot of strategy work again Monday night. It was a late night. The big day was Tuesday. And Tuesday, we were up bright and early, but there were some bus issues, so we ended up having to walk to the convention quite a ways, which was quite interesting. Monday we walked. Monday we walked even farther, a couple miles. Yeah, I forgot about that. But so the parking there was pretty crazy because of all the security. But then came the crazy stuff that happened on Tuesday afternoon. You know, when the credentials vote came and the rules vote came and, you know, the roll call vote. And it was just shocking to sit there and watch how they just railroaded things through like that. I mean, they just totally didn't care that there were delegates there who wanted something other than what they said, other than what the chair said. And he just completely ignored them and kept on going, you know. I can't believe, you know, it was kind of like shock for a little while, and I was just sitting there watching what was happening and slowly losing hope, and then finally it was all I could to not just break down and bawl, and by the end of that roll call vote, it was, I was surprised, but I mean not that surprised because of what we saw happen at our state convention. They obviously do not care for the rules, and if it happened at the state level, I mean, I was surprised that it happened. It was so blatant at the national convention, but I wasn't all that surprised, really. What was more surprising to me was just the fact that, not surprising, but it was just amazing to see the complete cheating and shame that the Chairman Rivas did, and that Speaker Boehner did, you know. I went out into the hall after the roll call was over, and I was talking to some women when we were in the bathroom, and I was just like, I was fed up. My sisters were telling me to calm down, and I'm like, I'm not going to let these women just go by and say, sorry, oh, you're one of those wrong call supporters, which is what they did, because I happen to have a button on, you know, and I'm going, you guys agree with what went on there? I said, we're going to make our party look terrible, and they said, oh, we don't make ourselves look stupid. I'm like, okay. You know, it was really crazy. So, but we continue on, and so that night, you know, it was pretty disappointing what we thought. But then afterwards, when we went to Whiskey Joe's, and we were all there together, it was really invigorating and inspiring. You know, I'm glad we were able to put it together, and we had that spot like Whiskey Joe's, where we could all be. Hey, did you about that? What, Whiskey Joe's? Yes. Whiskey Joe's was so cool. After such a long day, Monday night I was so tired. We had some people, a delegate meeting, but I don't think I'd ever been that tired in my life. So I wasn't paying attention much. And then Tuesday, it was, you know, a long, horrible day at the convention, and we went to Whiskey Joe's afterward, and that was really inspiring. To just have so many people that all thought the same thing, even after, you know, we had been, quote, defeated and completely cheated out of the convention. It was very cool to see everybody, you know, pumped up to just keep on going and not give up very easily. So the next day we went in to the convention and sat through the Ron Paul tribute and Rand Paul's speech. And then we all walked out with Maine chanting as Maine goes, so goes the nation. And it was really neat again to be a part of that, to see how we all just came together after such a hard blow on Tuesday. I think their establishment would be kind of disappointed. Like, they probably hoping we would just go away and, you know, be discouraged by everything that we went through, but no, it made us all go, oh, really? Well, if we're going to do this now, we're all going to come together. And we chanted for a long time inside, and then we walked outside, I don't know how far, but until we came to a cement barrier, and we all hopped in and then went to our cars. we took it to the end of the security barricade there, and just putting it off as, we're walking to our cars, as everyone was saying, as the security was questioning us as to what we were doing, this big mob out chanting. Yeah, chanting with no one around. I don't know why we kept chanting out there with only security guards, but I think it just was the mental feeling of being together with it all. And then Thursday we had the press conference and for the grassroots which is a huge success. Those guys who put that all together kudos to them for doing that. It was a big success, and hopefully we made a statement for some, you know. But after that, we didn't stay till the RNC, so it was kind of, you know, we were done for with that. So we just went down to one of Oklahoma's houses that some of our delegates were staying at, and partied till late into the night. So that was. We actually had a birthday party for one of our Oklahoma delegates, and we had a sign-in sheet kind of thing, and there ended up being people from 33 states there. So that was pretty cool. With over 225 people who came throughout the night. And I heard the lights got turned out at 4 o'clock. I left around 2:30 or 3. So it was another late night, and really good though. So Friday was really our only day that we actually spent any time down doing anything like as a vacation, quote unquote. It was just more of a break before we had to take a long drive home back to Oklahoma. So, which it wasn't meant to be a vacation. It was meant to get down there and get work done, which we did what we could. So that kind of wraps up Tampa. You know, there's so many different aspects of things that we could talk about with what happened there and all those kind of things. But I think we need to work on what we need to do next and where we need to go from here. And a lot of people felt like giving up after Tampa. We're not one of those. We said, oh really? We're gonna do this? No, we're gonna fight harder now, and we're gonna keep on going even stronger now. And so we're gonna stay involved in the party and keep working hard in the party. And we have our state chair coming over soon to our house to talk about things. And you know, we're gonna make our voices heard. So there isn't any other way to go. I mean, if you just give up, then I don't see what the point was in being involved ever. In 2008, you know, Ron Paul did not win the nomination like he just did, and the people involved then did not give up. They kept on, you know, fighting and putting good candidates up, and look at where we are 4 years later. We're a lot stronger. You know, the movement's a lot bigger. So there's no point in giving up right now. And then there's a lot of talk about who we're going to vote for. I hope that link. I just put the link down in the chat to the open letter that I had to our state chair. Yeah, that link works. If you want to see what I wrote to him this last Saturday and hand delivered to him. So a lot of people are also wondering, who do we vote for now? Since Romney's our nominee, you know, we're not going to vote for him. And you know, most of us wouldn't want to vote for Obama. You know, I know some people might say, well, we're just going to do that to protest. But I can't vote for Obama or Romney because of it would compromise my principles to vote for either one of them. And so, do you write in Ron Paul? Hey, if you can write in Ron Paul in your state, I think that'd be fantastic.
We cannot, unfortunately.
Oklahoma is really limited. We really only have two choices, which is Republican or Democrat. You know, so either we'll vote one of those or don't vote at all. And so then we have Gary Johnson. Now he's on the ticket in some states, and you know, a lot of people are for him because he's a libertarian candidate. You know, we stand for liberty. While there's a few issues with him as far as we are concerned, and I thought it would be a good time to kind of share those, since a lot of people don't realize what Gary Johnson really stands for on some of these important issues. And since Suriyah has looked up everything there is to Gary Johnson, I think I'm going to have her talk about it.
Thanks a lot.
For starters, Gary Johnson is not in all 50 states. They're trying to get him on the ballots, but at the moment, I think Oklahoma is the last state that he looks like will not be on the ballot on. So if you're in Oklahoma, your only two choices are Romney or Obama, which we cannot vote for, as you all know. So Gary Johnson, a lot of people say, we all know he is pro-choice, at least everybody should, but he says he'll leave it up to the states, which is the same stance as Ron Paul. But I cannot personally vote for someone who thinks abortion is okay, whether he wants to leave it up to the states or not, because that would be voting for someone who supports murder. And then the other thing people are confused on Johnson is his foreign policy. Yeah, well, without life, there is no liberty, and so you have to support life to be actually a true libertarian. Yeah, a true libertarian is protecting life, liberty, and property. Without those three, you don't have any of them at all. So you have to support all three of them, in my opinion. And abortion is not a presidential issue, I agree. I think it should be left up to the states, according to the Constitution. If I were to go off of what I personally think, I think it should be made federally illegal. But that won't get anything accomplished. And it is to be left up to the states, but I cannot vote for somebody who thinks abortion is okay. On to Johnson's foreign policy. A lot of people think he is like Ron Paul. He is not like Ron Paul. He thinks we should end the wars in Afghanistan, but then he says that we should leave some bases open because since we already have bases over there, might as well leave some open for drone strikes and drone the, he thinks we should be able to drone the Pakistani and people of Yemen because we can, even though he says it creates more enemies than they kill, which makes no sense at all. He also thinks we should invade Afghanistan to go after the terrorist leader Joseph Kony, which the United States has no business being in Africa, and it would just most likely start another war like we did in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we would be over there, people dying for no reason. So, to sum it up, we will not be voting for Gary Johnson because of his foreign policy and his stance on abortion. And that's pretty much about it. And for Guantanamo Bay, I'm not sure of his stance on that. His whole foreign policy is very, very shaky. He says he is a, pro-peace, like Ron Paul candidate, but if you really look into it, he is not. His website does not have much info on his foreign policy except for the Afghanistan war. So I went around and researched him elsewhere to find what I could, and his foreign policy is very, very shaky. He says he wants to end the wars in Afghanistan, but he also says he wants to leave bases open to drone people, which is completely stupid in my opinion. Yeah, he wants to phase out drones. I mean, all drones need is just to be stopped completely. There's no, but he wants to leave bases open in the Middle East. He says the United States belongs in the Middle East. I don't think that's somebody we want to vote for. No, he's someone who is wishy-washy on the foreign policy. It isn't simply, I mean, Ron Paul's foreign policy is pretty strong, and we know exactly where he stands. Gary Johnson is not, and so we don't want to vote someone in like that who would be a commander-in-chief and then just go as to whatever they want. I mean, just look at our commander-in-chief right now. He said stronger things than Gary Johnson is saying from what I have seen about bringing our troops home, and he has gone completely against that. So, somebody asked him, not me, somebody asked him if, since we already have bases in the Middle East, what he thinks we should do to them. And he said, perhaps leave them open. So his answers to all the questions are not sound at all. We all know Ron Paul has a very sound and very strong foreign policy, and Gary Johnson does not match up. So it's how someone votes is up to each of their personal, opinion and their conscience. But we felt it was kind of important to kind of share some of these facts because for some of us, the reason why we support Ron Paul is because of principle. And so voting for Gary Johnson, Obama, or Mitt Romney is compromising on principles, and we can't vote on more than one account on all three of them. And so we can't vote for any one of those guys. While a lot of people say Gary Johnson is better than the other two, on some things, yeah, I would have to agree. But if you start voting for somebody just because they're an upgrade than the other person, then you start compromising on your principles, and then you start becoming part of the problem that has gotten this country into a whole mess. A lot of people call Gary Johnson the lesser of three evils. Yes. But if you're going to start voting for someone because they're the lesser of the evils, that means they're still evil. And you're going to get, you'll just become part of the problem. And so, since we don't have a good candidate, we don't have to vote for the presidential election. I mean, there's nothing saying we have to vote in that race. There's other candidates in our state that I can vote for in November, so I'll go vote there. And you can always, if you have nobody at all, I mean, you can typically there's somebody you can vote for, at least a local candidate. But even then, if you don't have somebody that you can vote for, you can always go turn in a blank ballot. And your vote, I mean, you'll be counted as a voter, but you won't be voting for anybody. Yeah, let's go pick up the ballot from the little old ladies who sit there and write through the machine, and it'll count you as a voter. And then they'll wonder how they lost that day when the voter turnout was so high, but no one voted for anyone. A lot of people are voting for Johnson too, so it counts as a vote against the Republicans and the Democrats, which that's just another thing you'll be compromising if you have principles that you shouldn't be doing. So now we're going to get Matt Larson up he has the YouTube channel, MatLarson10. The Go Ron Paul piece. We're going to get him up here to kind of talk about these issues about where we should go and voting Gary Johnson or writing in Ron Paul and all that kind of stuff. So Matt, you can come on up. There are a lot of Liberty festivals going around within the next couple weeks. I know there's one in Nashville, one in Iowa. Somebody wants us to go to. So look into it, and just if there's a Liberty festival in your area, make your way to it. Hello, Matt.
Hi, guys.
Good to see you again. Yes, we may be going to Iowa. Nothing for sure yet, but for those who are asking.
Am I loud enough, or am I kind of quiet?
No, you're fine.
Okay, cool. So what's up?
Our connection with you is kind of slow, so we have this really slow delay when you come in and say something in the video.
Yeah,
so
I say something, then I hear it on yours.
Can you turn your sound up a little bit? I can't hear you very well.
Yeah, how about that? Better? No? Maybe? Support Gary Johnson. I hope he does good. I hope he wins because he is the better of the three that have a chance to win. But I know that Gary Johnson doesn't actually have a chance to win because unless you're running as a Republican or a Democrat this year, third parties just don't have an actual shot at winning it. The two-party system is made to shut out the third parties.
Yeah, well, that's where a lot of people want to go to the third-party route now, which I would say, hey, if someone wants to do that, obviously, I'm cool with whatever anyone decides to do, because we're not going to say what someone should do. But people don't realize, or maybe they forget willfully, that the third-party system really doesn't get us anywhere. It's like, okay, it's not a vote for one of the two main candidates, but there's nothing going on with the third-party system because of the way everything is so centrally located with people.
Right. It's, I mean, people say that write-ins don't count and do anything. You know what? Voting third party won't do anything either. The media is not actually going to represent that count. People are so naive to actually believe that their vote is going to count. The people that do the counting of the votes are the people that actually matter. When we're sending out all the vote totals to Spain to be counted, do you actually think that that's going to be an actual representation of our vote totals that we actually try to cast? Absolutely not. The media is going to make it sound 49% Romney, 51% Obama, and that's all it's going to be. There is going to be no third party that's going to have a factor in it. It's just the media woke up to this back in 1988 when Ross Perot actually garnered about 19% of the vote. He was the last person to actually have a third-party chance that was close to winning. But the only reason why they couldn't cover up Ross Perot so much is because he was a very, very rich person that could afford to buy his own media at that time. We don't have that luxury when there's billionaires and trillionaires backing Romney and Obama. We just cannot outspend them. So unfortunately, we're screwed this election. We're not going to be actually represented with our vote. So that's why I say vote your conscience this time around until 2016. And everyone says there's not going to be 2016. And you know what, the more and more we get closer to it, I'm kind of seeing that financial collapse too, and who knows what's going to happen. Well, they didn't actually cheat Ross Perot. They threatened him and his kids. And that's why Ross Perot stepped down. He came back and he actually still ended up getting 19%. So I still believe 2016 is what we have to shoot for right now. If you're not willing to fight for the future, you might as well just sit down and die now because you're giving up. You're just conceding to them that they've won. I'm not willing to concede on that. That's why I'm running for city council, and I'm not willing to give up. We need to vote in Liberty candidates and get the right people in the power so we can start taking the power back to the people.
Exactly, and there's a lot of people who I've talked to over the last week and a half since being back from Tampa who are just ready to throw the towel in because of what they saw in Tampa, and even people who, I mean, weren't there. All people who should be ready to throw the towel in is those of us who went down there and spent our time and money and our stress and lack of sleep and tears over it, and, you know, we were totally burned being right there, and we felt it. Yeah, everyone witnessed it, but those of us who were down there in the trenches, you know, it's a little different actually experiencing it. But it made us all fight harder. So those who are just ready to throw the towel in already, I'm like, go ahead. Obviously, you weren't in this for the right reasons anyways if you're ready to give up so quickly after some kind of, after a quote-unquote defeat, even though it was by cheating. You know, you just get up off the ground and keep on going. And it's like, last night it got me over the edge, like just it fired me up when someone sent me a message saying, the revolution is a myth in the Republican Party. I was like, seriously, person, where in the world have you been?
They're not paying attention if they don't see us. So, I mean, we're kind of that elephant in the room for the GOP right now, and they don't know what to do with us because we're taking over more and more state conventions, more and more state positions, local positions. I mean, we're definitely having an impact, and that's why they had to blatantly cheat us out of this year down to the convention, because we have been taking over so much. Nevada is now owned by Ron Paul people. Minnesota will be owned by Ron Paul people. Iowa will soon. Maine will soon. I mean, all these things are definitely going in our favor, and it takes time. Look at how little we accomplished in 2007 and 2008 compared to what we accomplished in 2011 and 2012. We've done so much more this year, and we're only going to continue to grow exponentially. We can't let this year's election fracture us and divide us into different sects, whether we're the Right-In Liberty Party, or the Right-In Ron Paul, or the Gary Johnson vote, or the Virgil Good. We can't do that. We can vote for whoever we like this one, but we have to keep the same message. After 2012 and these elections are done, we have to all come back together again. Rally behind whoever the best candidate is, and go for it then. But not a year or two before the election. We need to do it the day after the elections. As soon as we find that candidate that we want to run, we push him to run, and we try to get him to go for it. I mean, if we show someone that they have enough support and money behind them, of course they're going to want to do it. Because that's why they want to represent the people, because they have that philosophy of being a statesman and not just a representative, not a congressman or a senator. They actually want to be a true statesman.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people. There's some states that people don't even realize that we've actually won in, like Nebraska. They didn't win the delegates there, but they've won 60% of their state executive committee. Or Virginia, they had 50% of the delegates at the RNC, but they also won like 75% of their state executive committee. And so that's where it really makes a difference. And people who may not really be involved may not see that exactly. So it can easily be defeating, discouraging. But like you're saying, we have to stick together as a unit, because that is what has made us have such success as it is because we are one unit, even though there may be people who we don't necessarily agree on everything or the way it all should be done in the movement. But the ultimate goal is getting in Liberty-minded candidates, whether it's at the party offices or the national level or state level or city level, you know, whatever level it might be in. If our goal is always the same, to get in Liberty candidates, then we can really make a difference like we have and continue to. And if there's nobody running in your area, you know, that you think is a Liberty candidate, then get up there and run yourself. There's, you know, educate yourself, and it all starts at the precinct level. If you can be your own precinct chairs. I mean, there's nobody in our precinct, I don't think. That's where it all starts, and then you can take over your county and then your state. What was that?
What I was going to say, it's definitely just become involved. I mean, when we start winning these different chairs and positions, it's going to be harder and harder for the GOP to screw us over in the next election. And until we get that such clear majority, we can't really run third party, because we're not going to have the numbers in the media to be actually represented. I know that we'd love to go third party and run libertarian, but I believe right now that it is time to actually stay within the GOP and fight it from within. Get the right people into power, just like in Alaska and all these other states. We need to get the right people into power, so then at least they can protect us from the fraud. Honestly, I do still believe that we are the minority of Americans that are awake to the full message of Ron Paul and Liberty and what some other people carry. But if we get inside the GOP and we actually get one of those people nominated because we've pushed hard enough and we've woken up enough people in the GOP, then they're going to have no other choice but to just completely support that candidate, because the people in the GOP, for the most part, are the sleeping masses, and they'll support anyone that has an R next to their name. They're dumb enough to where they actually think that Romney is a Republican. He's a fiscal conservative Republican. I mean, if they can fall for that, they can fall for anything. So that's why I think that we still need to do that, because until we get that complete, clear majority to run third party, we have to stay in with them until we can get a large enough number. Otherwise, we're just going to be stomped on like we have been the past 8 years.
That's why, I mean, we had a discussion with our state chair on Saturday where he got pretty upset at me, and he was like red in the face and mad at me. And, you know, but then he calmed down, but because he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because I told him the convention wasn't just the success that he claimed it was. I said, you have to stand up for what's right. Just tell people the facts. Okay, you want to say it was a success because Romney's the nominee, whatever. Even though I won't tell you that he got it by cheating, you know, and we'll go into all that detail right now. But yes, we have a nominee, even though he got it wrongfully. But at least tell people that there was credentials fights, that there was rules fights, and they weren't allowed really, and that this was done and that was done. Stand up for what's right in the party, and so people can actually see what's going on, and then that'll make a huge change over the long term, even if the neocons just realize that. I mean, our national committee woman, our national committee woman came to our county and spoke last night about what happened in Tampa. We were all very, you know, not sure what she was going to say, but she was very fair, actually, and just said what happened. She even acknowledged they were reading a teleprompter to, you know, figure out who won the voice vote. And so we're all, you know, very pleased with that. And she is by no means a Ron Paul person, but at least she was fair, you know.
Right, and I mean, you can't force someone to support a person. I mean, if they honestly believe that Ron Paul is someone like an isolationist, you can't force them to actually agree with him. Now, if they'll give you a fair shot, that's all that really matters. I mean, if they listen to you and they'll give you a fair shake, there's not a whole lot more that we can do. Just like how we would love to see Ron Paul go beyond the Gary Johnson ticket. Okay, the majority of us would like to go see Ron Paul on the Gary Johnson ticket. I don't think that would cure everyone over to go and voting for him. But we can't disenfranchise Judge Jim Gray and all the other people that did go out and fought for him and voted for him and pledged money towards him. We can't do that. I would have loved to see it happen. I mean, don't get me wrong. If Judge Jim Gray would step down with the consent of all the other supporters and voters at the convention, I'd love to see Ron Paul run on the third party with Gary Johnson. I think that that would definitely solidify many more people voting for Gary Johnson. But again, then it still goes back to that part where I don't actually think that they're going to count our votes, and they're going to suppress us and lie about the numbers in the first place. So I don't think it really matters. Just do what you think is right, basically.
Yep. Like the Texas State Chair, they had a great convention, and he was just a fair chair, you know. He wasn't biased, which is how every chair should be. They should not be biased either way. And their convention went very, very good, just because he was fair to everybody. So it doesn't matter if they support one person or another, you know, necessarily. When they're doing their job, they shouldn't be biased to Ron Paul or Romney or Santorum or whoever. Yes, Steve Ministeri from Texas, he rocks. He's their state chair and their convention chair. Yeah, he was quite amazing when we were down there. And I sent him an email when we got back and thanked him, like, make sure this gets to Steve, and he sent me an email back. I have it, thank you very much, you know. He was really good, and, you know, I've heard he's, well, I won't say, but he was really good, and that's what every state chair should be like. I came back and I say, Oklahoma state chair could take lessons from Steve, because he just had, didn't take any sides, and just let what happened happen at the convention, and let people make points of order, let people, even a crazy delegate who said this crazy thing at the end of the convention, he let them, I don't even remember what he said, but he ran up to the microphone claiming it was a point of order, and it wasn't, and the chair let him say everything he wanted, without, you know, everyone laughed at him afterwards, but they didn't shut him off because he's crazy. So if every state chair is like that, then, well, that's when we have to take it over to do that. But.
Well, if they shut down all the crazy people, then no one would ever have time to speak for Romney, because everyone would be shutting him down the whole time. So they do have to let the crazy people speak every once in a while.
Yeah, really. Every time we see our state chair, I think he says, I'm not expecting you to take signs for Romney. I'm not expecting you to campaign for Romney. I'm like, I'm not even here to talk to you about Romney, you know? Forget it about Romney and Ron Paul. Yeah, he's coming over, so we'll see how it goes. But all we want him to do is just be fair, you know? He was not fair at all at conventions.
You need to videotape it, so at least then you can share it with us and we can see what possibly the next, he's possibly going to be replacing Priebus, isn't he, is what I heard? Yeah,
there's rumor of him replacing Priebus. So that's kind of why we have to work on him here in Oklahoma while we have him and while we have a talking relationship with him. And no, we won't be doing any live stream, maybe not even video. He doesn't like it. Yeah, when I saw him at the meeting on Saturday, he was a little annoyed that someone was filming, and I asked the person to stop because at that point we were right in the middle of actually possibly getting somewhere with the conversation, so I thought, you know, there's no reason to aggravate something further with something that isn't that big of a deal. So I will see how it goes on Monday, and you know, we'll just play it by ear.
What are your guys' laws on wiretapping and recording? Can you record someone, like just audio, without them knowing it? Because if you can, you should just audio record that guy without video.
We could. I mean, he's coming to our house, so we could do whatever we wanted at our house. But yeah, I think actually somebody did audio record the thing on Saturday. So.
Well, there you go. You're just recording to protect yourself.
I think you can in Oklahoma do that, actually, from what I recall.
Captain America, I think the government already does have everyone's house wiretapped, so no need to do that.
I don't know about our house, you know, there's too many of us here.
Okay, not the ranch. I mean, there's too many different animal noises in the background anyway for the government to actually hear what you're saying, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, those animal noises are good for something, right? So, that's why I'd encourage everyone just to, you know, talk to the people in your party. You know, think it's something to, if you have a relationship where you can talk to your chair or write a letter to him and hand deliver it to him or do something, or, you know, anyone who you're around who's in a position of power, quote unquote, you know, do something like that, then talk to them and see if you can make a difference, and maybe that it'll force them, if they realize you're here to stay, it'll force them to include you or at least do what's right. And if it takes force, just your presence to force them to do what's right until you can replace them, then so be it. You know, I figure if it takes getting him wrapped around our finger for the next few months just to get stuff done, that's great. But hopefully it'll change him, you know, for the better.
I had somebody send me, sorry about that, go ahead. I had somebody send me a document, and I found this pretty interesting. I'm going to read this. I just got it like 15 minutes ago. It's from the Cherokee County Republican Party in South Carolina, Blacksburg, South Carolina. And the guy's name is Mr. Brian Frank. Letter goes, Dear Mr. Frank, this letter is to inform you that you have vacated your office as precinct president of the Gaffney Ward 4 precinct in accordance with the rules of the South Carolina Republican Party as amended on May 19, 2012. Now the two rules that it says he broke were rule number 4, precinct organization, section D, resignation and vacancies. Now it says, should any officer or delegate publicly endorse or financially support a candidate for partisan office other than a duly nominated Republican candidate, unless there is no Republican nominee in the relevant race, they shall immediately vacate the Republican Party office. Now Rule 5, it also says, this is for county organizations, section E, resignations and vacancies. Should any officer or delegate publicly endorse or financially support a candidate for partisan office other than a duly nominated Republican candidate, unless there is no Republican nominee in the relevant race, they shall immediately vacate the Republican Party office. Now here's where it gets crazy. As president of the Gaffney Ward 4 precinct, you are a member of the Cherokee County Republican Party Executive Committee. When you posted on the Cherokee County Republican Party's Facebook and on your Facebook page your support of the Libertarian Party candidate for President of the United States, you immediately vacated your office in both of the precinct and county organizations. This letter has been written by the officers of the Cherokee County Country Republican Party to remind you of your South Carolina Republican Party rules, and because of your actions, no vote is necessary to remove you from office. Your actions did that. Yours truly, John Major. So this person was kicked off of the precinct office and president of the Gaffney Ward precinct because he supported a third-party candidate. You have no idea, like, you can't support anybody but the people that they're forcing down your throat. It's just complete garbage.
That's insane. I didn't realize they said they removed him from his office because of that. That's crazy. There's a guy running for a state senate in Iowa, and he was telling me last night that he was being summoned by his GOP because they were telling him that if he did not endorse Romney, they were going to stop all funding or support to help him in his race against the Democrats. That is just like completely ridiculous.
See, you know what, I don't doubt that. I mean, they're so completely corrupt. They know that the masses won't actually support them. The people that are running, that are educated, aren't going to be the ones that go out there and campaign for him and throw his support behind him.
Yeah, and speaking of the Republican Party rules, I was talking to someone from Nevada earlier, and he was saying, you know, they got in some trouble, some of them, because they voted not according to how they were bound. And they were getting on his case for that because he was on the executive committee, and he said, well, I was disenfranchised as a delegate, and so that's why I went ahead and did my unbinding. And they said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, Gingrich was supposed to get proportional delegates in our state, and so I signed up to be a Gingrich delegate because Paul's delegates were all taken already, and you guys didn't give Gingrich any delegates from Nevada. So he said, I was already disenfranchised, and so it forced me just to have to vote according to how I wanted to. And I guess they were like, I had no words to say back to him.
What? Basically kind of one of those speechless moments. Yeah, it's nice when we can use the rules against them, because you know that they change so many rules to go against us if possible. Just like with the rules committee and all those things down there in Tampa, they definitely try to stick it to us. Unfortunately, we are supposed to be the ones that are making the rules. The people up in the party are supposed to be the ones voting on it, but they don't actually choose and write rules fairly. They don't wait for everyone to go there and vote on it. They stall people on buses and drive around the convention center 3 or 4 times and not allow people to get off. I mean, this is the party that we're fighting to get in. It's absolutely insane when you think about it. Why would we want to be a part of this party? But you have to if we want to ever change it. If we ever want to have a difference and actually have a real shot, we need to take over the GOP, and that's what we need to continue fighting for.
Yep, that's exactly it. We have to take over the Republican Party, and instead of the revolution being a myth, like I was told last night, you know, the revolution is going to take over and has taken over the Republican Party in a bunch of states. And so we just need to hold people's feet to the fire and be involved and not compromise on principle. And if we can do that, and especially taking over those state committees, then we can actually possibly change the course of the politics of America.
I agree.
No last words. I just agree with both of you. You know, I'm the speechless one, so I'll just do that.
Does anyone have any questions or anything? I guess that'd be a good time for questions. The last 5 minutes.
Joining the GOP is compromising principles. Someone says, well, the party platform stands for really good things, and so that's what we stand for, the party platform, and the principles the Republican Party stands for, not who the Republican Party has made themselves out to be now.
Captain, what did you say?
And no, we should not spread out in between all the Libertarian Party, the Democrats, and the Republicans, because that would just weaken our movement. That wouldn't really get us anywhere. If we all stay united in the Republican Party and all fight for the same thing, then we can really make a difference. Yes, Matt is running for office. He's running for city council of, I don't remember the town he's in. Matt, what town are you in?
Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Sorry.
So,
I don't think you can. I don't think you can lose your spot as the precinct chair.
And that would be up to each state, you know, and what their party rules were. But it's downright stupid if you lost a spot as the precinct chair because of Stein. Oh, I was told to mention that Jesse Benton said he will not be joining the campaign for Liberty this fall. I guess that's big news.
Yeah, that was very good to hear. A lot of people that had problems with him hopefully will continue to support Campaign for Liberty. I think that that's a very good organization. I think that for the most part they have been helping us, so I think that should be good.
Yeah. Our blog and YouTube channel is on the chat down there. Matt's YouTube channel is MatLarson10. I think it's in the chat. And there's the show after us. There's a show after us for Tom Garcia's up talking about hyperinflation preparations. So he'll be on in a couple minutes when we're done.
Should be a good show. Are you going to say "Go Ron Paul" at the end of every video? Yes, I will. And actually, I've had people question me. They're like, "Ron Paul's out of it. Why do you keep saying that?" I'm like, you guys are idiots. I don't say "Go Ron Paul" because I think Ron Paul's going to win. I say "Go Ron Paul" because it's literally like, it's the message. Go Ron Paul. Ron Paul is the message, not the body. I don't want Ron Paul's body to go. I want his message to continue. I have a t-shirt that says, "Go, I am Ron Paul." Am I actually Ron Paul? No, I'm Ron Paul's message. That's all it is. So, okay, people aren't idiots, but some of the people that question that, they're like, they don't get it. Matt does not.
That's what we told our state chair. We modified the Tampa rally shirts and so they now say, "I am a Ron Paul Republican," and that still gets underneath their skin. Yeah, he's like, Ron Paul's out of the race. It's not about Ron Paul. I said, but he stands for, you know, the principles that we stand for. So I could say I'm a Ron Paul Republican. He didn't quite like it, but he understood.
I have a link right here too for my city council run for on Facebook if you want more information that way. You can just go on there and like it, and then if I have any updates or anything like that, you can check it out that way. It's fairly new. Also, I think I posted the website down below. I'm pretty sure I did. I'll do it one more time anyways, but that's the website for City Council, and basically I think people should just model their websites when they run for City Council off that. You try to keep it as simple as possible, because people, if they get overwhelmed when you go to a big website and it has like 10,000 different tabs and 500 pages of just information on it. They want the basics, because if they want to know more, they'll go to the City Council meetings and listen to what you have to say once they vote for you. Most people actually don't get that involved with politics, so you have to remain simple, so the simple-minded people that just vote mostly off of name recognition will think about voting for you.
Well, we have about 1 minute, so I have to wrap it up here. Thanks, Matt, again, as usual, for joining us, and I'm sure you'll be on with us again at some point. There's another show starting in like 2 minutes, so we gotta go.
Sounds good. So I see everyone later. Thanks for having me on. Sorry about the slow connection between us.
Alright. Thanks, Matt. So we'll be on again next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have Eric Brakey from Maine. He's kind of the main delegation on, the spokesperson for the main delegation. So he will be on next week with us for an hour. So get your questions ready for Eric Brakey from Maine. And as always, since we believe in liberty and peace, we believe in the freedom of religion. So check out our church website also, atruechurch.info. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Liberty, peace, love, fear God. Ron Paul. Thanks for watching.